Remember? Yeah,
He gets killed in season 4 in the Japanese version. He turns samurai. He's all flat.
He's in the Polish He's in a different spot.
Did you come back?
I'm also super good. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
their
Yes.
transformations are awesome. So
One of my favorites, but I'm running out of
yeah,
space.
third party one.
So I've already done the floor money, so it'll be 3 years. Yes. So I'm going to show you 2 things, make sure you don't.
Oh yeah, he's so cozy, baby. Gosh.
This one's 150. It's the first, second, and third film. So they would let it buy it. She would buy it all the time.
I have a pretty decent contract on him, but it was,
Yeah.
I was a good amount. And
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Thank you for helping me.
Hello, this weekend was Toronto TFCON, Transformers Con in Mississauga, and I went to it along with J-Man and Owen from the Action Elite, and usually I don't get autographs. I'm not a big autograph guy. I only have maybe 3 before this. I had Kevin Eastman for a Ninja Turtles comic, Ursa, from Superman 2, and what was the other one? Oh, Max Brooks for World War Z, which is a book I really love. Not the movie so much. And that's it. I'm not really a guy that likes to collect autographs and stuff like that. I don't really care. But when it comes to Transformers, that's different. And at the show was Stan Bush, legendary rock and roll star that made 2 of the great songs from the Transformers the movie in 1986, Dare, and of course The Touch. And Bob Budiansky, who created a lot of the lore for Transformers, named most of the characters that you know, Optimus Prime, Megatron, etc. Without Bob Budiansky, there is no Transformers. I know that the toys came from different toy lines in Japan, but the Transformers lore and Cybertron, Autobots, Decepticons, and all that stuff, you owe all of that to Bob Budiansky, who also wrote most of the Marvel comics and a lot of the material on the backs of toys and stuff like that in the old 80s toy line, the original G1. And Simon Furman was there. Simon Furman, you have him to thank for all of the lore surrounding Unicron. When Sunbow did their season 3, their version of the Unicron origin was this little monkey character called Primacron made him. Everyone's forgotten that because most people know the demigod version of Unicron and Primus and all that stuff. And that's because in the comics, that's what Simon Furman was doing, and everyone's taken that as gospel. It was the backbone of the Unicron trilogy. It was being used in the movies, etc. So Simon Furman is responsible for that. And I wanted autographs from these guys. I wanted to meet these guys because they are, especially Bob Budiansky and Simon Furman, are the Transformers franchise. Everyone who's working in it owes them a great deal of gratitude. So I took my 2015 reissue of the Transformers the Movie soundtrack LP and got it signed by Stan Bush. I don't have a picture of this. I didn't get pictures, but my buddy J-Man took some pictures of the other signings, so we'll take a look at that. But here it is, man. Awesome. Signed by Stan Bush himself. So cool. Here's the back of this if you've never seen it before. That's cool. So I met Bob Budiansky. He's awesome. You know, it's funny, even though he's older, he does still look like his Bullpen Bulletin like sketch. You know how they used to do the profiles of each member of the bullpen in Marvel Comics in the soapbox, and someone would do a sketch of him, and you know, he kind of looked like that. It was cool. We saw him walking to his table, and then later on I got to meet him. He's really cool. They were charging what, $10 per Bob and Simon Furman were charging $10 for their autographs, and he even asked me, like, is it okay? And I'm like, yeah, no, sure, you know. Like, I already knew that. So I got him to sign the Headmasters miniseries because he directly wrote those. Even though he was responsible for a lot in the issue 1 of Transformers, like issues 1 to 4, he's not really credited with anything in those issues, just as editor. But here, so I got Headmasters issue 1 signed by Bob right there, and he was quick to point out, like, I drew this cover, like, I know that, Bob. Issue 2, and here it is right here. He's trying to look for places to sign. Issue 3. And these are my childhood copies. I don't care. And they're special to me, right? There he is right here. This is a childhood copy of mine. I read the crap out of issue 4 for some reason. I'm trying to find where he signed it. I know it was tricky. Here it is. It's such a busy cover, he didn't know where to put it. So here he is right here. Here's issue 4. There you go. I also met Simon Furman, and he's a delight. I mean, he's all smiles all the time. He's great. I got him to sign issue 56. This was his first American issue, so he wrote from 56 onward to the end, issue 80. And there's his signature right there. Of course, he was writing for the UK comics before that, and then was recruited, handpicked by Bob to write the rest of the American issues. At the time, Simon was told that, you know, the comic's on his last leg, so you probably won't be here very long, but like from 56 to 80, it's pretty good. I also got him to, so back in the 90s, they released collections. It was Titan Comics released collections of the latter Transformers stuff that Simon Furman did, because it was very, very hard to find at the time. And I got them as a kid, and I told Simon the story of, like, I traveled with my dad from Toronto to Vancouver. We drove and we camped in various places. It takes about 6 days if you're doing that. And I would read these by a camp light in my tent. You know, with all the sounds of the woods and everything, and the smell of, like, burning campfires and stuff like that. So, and he thought that was funny. He said that a lot of people were bringing these old Titan collections for him to sign. Here's a Matrix Quest, and got it signed inside. There you go. Here's All Fall Down. Signed inside. And end of the road. End of the road, Galvatron. This is where Bludgeon loses the entire war for the Decepticons. I always give Bludgeon a hard time. He was the leader of the Decepticons when the series ended, so to me, he lost the war for everyone. All of this reprints from issue 63 to 80 of the Transformers. So those are my signings. I had a great time, and I got to meet like legends. I'll say this. I'll go on this tiny little rant. Everyone else, the guy Gary Chalk is awesome. He was there too. I didn't get him. Victor Caroli, I think that's his name, who did the narration, that with that powerful voice, he did that for the commercials and for the cartoon. He was there. I didn't get his autograph on anything. And a lot of people had crowds and stuff around them. Bob and Simon, not so much, and it's kind of sad to me. As I said, like, they are the franchise. Like, without them, you don't... I mean, Gary Chalk doesn't get to voice Optimus Primal or Optimus Prime in the Unicron trilogy. It doesn't happen. The character isn't even called Optimus Prime without Bob, so there you go. I mean, but, you know, they had some people come over to their booth and stuff, and they would chat with them and stuff, but I didn't see, like, a big crowd, where, you know, as it should be, right? And another thing, when I looked at signings for Transformers issue 1, there's like, it's like Peter Cullen and Frank Welker sign it, and it goes for hundreds, and they had nothing to do with that comic, you know. And I saw the only signed Headmasters issue 1 was like Stan Lee signed it. He had nothing to do with it. It presents, but like had nothing to do with the comics that he presented. All right, I did get a couple things at the show, so oh, actually, I forgot. I got one more thing signed from Simon Furman. This is the DK Transformers written by Simon Furman. This is second edition. The Ultimate Guide, you know. They keep adding to the lore anyways. And I got this personalized. He had Megatron say to Sean, and he signed it. So that's cool. So one thing I got was the Bumblebee Pretender without his helmet and without his guns, but that's okay. I love the build of these Pretenders. They're like big bulky guys, and you know, it's so cool. So this is what Bumblebee would look like if he were human. And when you crack him open, oh, so there you go. And you have to put Bumblebee in half transformed. That's the only way he fits. So yeah, and then you get like Bumblebee here. This is yet another version of Bumblebee from the time. But this is the Pretenders Bumblebee, so there you go. That's cool. I'm gonna buy more and more Transformers. I know J-Man bought another Pretender. The Pretenders are cool, and I think they're being snapped up now because people realize how awesome they are. And one last thing I got, which isn't Transformers, but I love coloring books. It's the Amazing Spider-Man, a big coloring book. This has its own little story in it. I can't wait to dig into it. I'll post a video about this. It's really cool. It looks awesome. So there you go. You fight some random robot with the same kind of arms that Dr. Octopus would have. So I love these. I love the fact that they had their own stories in them, and they weren't in anything else like cartoons and comics and stuff. It's just like coloring book stories. So there you go. That's what I got at the Toronto TFCON. This year. Really, I just wanted to meet the people that were behind Transformers and really behind a big part of my childhood. And as I say, I never get autographs or meet these people because I don't care to pay the money and wait in a line and get this stuff. And sometimes I'm like, oh, what's the point of an autograph? But you know, that's just me, right? I know it's not everyone, but I did want to get like Simon Furman and Bob Budiansky, of course. Stan Bush. Like, I had that LP around, and I was like, whew, I gotta get this signed. So there you go. It was great. It was a great time. I hope they do another one with some more big names. And I'll come to that. So till next time, take care.